Hey y'all, I'm Ralper, and welcome to Skyrim Scripting. I'm so excited to be kicking off a brand new series teaching folks how to create SKSE or Skyrim Script Extended plugins in C++. Now this is a bit of a rough draft. This is my first release of the series. I hope that I have time one day to come back and add more polish to these, but as I've started to have a lot of fun working on SKSE plugins myself, I feel a little bit guilty while I do it because I haven't created these videos and I haven't gotten y'all up and running to create your own SKSE plugins. So I guess this is my way of feeling not so guilty. I can work on my own SKSE plugins after I get this released. Sort of. I want to make more videos for y'all as well. And feel free to also come over to our Discord community where we've got more and more C++ and SKSE interested developers joining, but also Papyrus and Creation Kit developers as well. Here's what we're going to do in this episode. We're going to get you up and running with everything that you need. I freshly reformatted the computer that I'm on right now. I just installed OBS and stuff like that. It has no Visual Studio or any of these tools that we're going to need to create our SKSE plugin. We're going to install Visual Studio. Don't worry, it's free. It's easy peasy. We're going to install this thing that at the time of recording you need. It's a package manager for C++. It's just a file that we download, a folder, we double click a file, we add an environment variable, no big deal. There's instructions on the interwebs, which I will give you. We're going to download a template plugin, just like a Hello World SKSE plugin. It does almost nothing. We'll compile it, make sure that that works for you, run it in the game. Now, this template happens to be a CommonLib SSE NG or next generation template. All that means is we're using the CommonLib SSE NG version of CommonLib, which means that the plugin you create will work in Skyrim SE, the old 1597, Anniversary Edition, GOG, and VR. Now, at the time that you watch this, maybe that's not the popular way of doing things. Hopefully, I will either update some of this documentation that you're going to see with big links that say, hey, go to this new place. Or I will record some new videos, or someone out there, help, record videos. Do you like recording videos or writing documentation? Reach out to me, please. So let's get started. Here I have github.com/ my monitor freaked out, skyrimscripting/SKSE templates. With or without the underscore will both take you to this page. If you scroll down, you're going to find some instructions here, but also Hello World. Here's the Hello World template. It has itself some instructions on what you need to do. Really, at the time of recording, all you need to do is get Visual Studio 2022 and then follow these steps for this package manager called VC Package. That's because that's how we get the library called CommonLib, which we use to create SKSE plugins. You don't have to understand any of that. You just need to follow through these steps. So let's get Visual Studio 2022. Again, it's free. You can get the community edition. Don't confuse this with Visual Studio Code. That's an entirely different editor. I know they named them both Visual Studio. It's confusing. And I will at some point have an episode teaching you how to create your SKSE plugins in Visual Studio Code because it's my preferred method. But we're going to use Visual Studio. Here we go. Community 2022. Let's go ahead and download that. And screen might go black. Yep, it just did. While Windows is asking me if it's okay to install. Now, as soon as you get the installer up and running, it's going to present you with the kind of modules that you want to install. Because Visual Studio supports creating all kinds of different applications. Mobile applications, desktop applications, web applications, etc. Python, Node. And so here's what you see. What you want to do is you want to look within desktop and mobile, and it's right here at the top. Desktop development with C++. Just check that box. Great. It's going to install MSVC. That's the Microsoft Visual C++ compiler, the Microsoft version of the C++ compiler, which we need at the time of recording. It's the only way to compile SKSE plugins. And it also will install this thing called CMake tools, which we're going to need. Let's go ahead and install that. And now you might want to go get a drink or something. It really depends on the speed of your downloads. I just snagged my hair. That's so sad. Oh. Yeah, if you ever want to install more of those Visual Studio tools, you can always, after this is done, just run the Visual Studio installer from your start menu and it'll open up that same box. let me detangle my hair and get some more tea while I wait for this installer to finish. Okay, I literally just ran in from a dog walk. I was waiting forever. So your download and your install might take a while, but that should be the longest part of this process. When we compile Common Lib, it takes a little while, but it's all good. All right, so now let's go on to the next step. We don't need to launch Visual Studio or anything like that now. In the tutorial we're walking through for Hello World, it says that we need this thing called VC package. I love this mug. It keeps itself hot. Thank you, boyfriend. Now here we go. If you search for it, you'll find your way here. Microsoft, github.com/Microsoft/VC package. And so what we want to do is download it. You could download it as a zip. It takes quite some time. You should really get yourself set up with Git if you're not already. So download it with Git. If you're not already set up with Git, just go ahead and download GitHub Desktop. And we're going to go ahead and install that. Now, we're not even going to like log into GitHub or make a GitHub account or anything like that. We're just going to install GitHub Desktop. It doesn't require GitHub or anything like that. But it's awesome, and I use it throughout the series. I use it outside of the series. I've been using Git for like a trillion years, and I still love this tool. So when you get to the screen, you should sign up for a GitHub account. Just do it. If you're going to make any plugins or mods or anything like that for Skyrim, please put them on GitHub. Please. Please, please, please. Even if it's just a little toy project and you think no one else is going to use it, please put it on GitHub. I search for code on GitHub all the time, and I find like these little projects that people created, and the code is so helpful. So you can just skip this step. You can say finish, done skis. Now we just go back to where we were, VC package, code, open with desktop. Hold on, let's refresh. Open with desktop. Yo, dude, I'm like recording an episode. Don't do this to me. I wonder if it only works if you're logged in or something. Yeah, it says desktop.github.com. Man, I literally just told you that you don't need to sign up, but I think you need to sign up. Yo, I totally logged in, and this totally will work now. If you want to not stay logged in, cool. You can go to code, copy this path here with this little copy button, this convenient little copy button. And in GitHub Desktop, you can say clone a repository from the internet. And GitHub or whatever, but you can just say URL. Paste the URL and decide to put it wherever you want. I'm going to make like a code folder maybe. I'll make like C/code. Make a code folder for all of our stuff. And so I'm going to put VC package here in C/VC package, clone. And that does the exact same thing that would have just triggered had I, after logging in, gone to code, open with GitHub Desktop. I'm helping those of you who don't want to have GitHub accounts, even though you should have a GitHub account. Let's follow the instructions. The instructions now say, once we've got it, once we've cloned it or downloaded it, we need to go into the folder where it was downloaded to and double click this bat file. Okay, that works for me. We used GitHub Desktop, so I can just go to repository, show and explore, or Control-Shift-F. Otherwise, however you downloaded it, just go to the folder where you downloaded it. And like if you just extracted it into your downloads, put it somewhere else because you're not going to want to move this folder. Now we're going to double click Bootstrap VC package, and we'll know it's done once this little VC package executable shows up. You may or may not see the window pop open. That happens pretty quickly. Now, step C. So there's A, B, and C. Step C is to edit your system or user environment variables. Ooh, starts to sound tricky. And add a new one, VC package root, and to the path to wherever your folder was. Kids should yell more while I'm recording. It's a rough draft. What are you going to do? So let's go back to that folder, Control-Shift-F, and I need to grab the path to it. because we're going to set this environment variable. So let's go to environment, just type environment variables, or just environment. And this zoom doesn't work for shit when I'm trying to zoom the start menu, but you can either choose edit the system environment variables or edit environment variables for your account. Doesn't matter. If you choose the one that says system environment variables, there's just one extra button you need to click. You just need to click this little environment variables button and it'll take you to this. So now once we're here, we click new, and then like the screenshot shows, we're going to name it VC package underscore root, like so. And then we take the path to wherever we put the VC package folder. So for us, I've got it here. I put it in C code VC package, but wherever you put it. And there, and hit OK. And then you definitely need to hit OK again. Don't hit cancel or nothing will apply. Okay. Apparently that's it. Apparently now it says once we've got this installed, you can open up any folder with any C++ editor and everything should just work. There's some project setup to do, but we can focus on that after we download the Hello World project. So this is itself a GitHub project. So once again, click the green code button, and then you can either copy the path or download it as a zip, or this time I'm going to use the GitHub desktop button. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, because I wasn't logged in that session. Oh my God. Code, open with GitHub desktop. Finally. The first time you install it, it's going to ask you this thing for whether or not it's allowed to open up links. And you can be like, yeah, please go ahead and open up links. This is going to put it in my code folder. Works for me. Cool. However you download this template, what you want to do is you want to open it up in Explorer and right-click somewhere in the empty space and say, for visual Windows 11 people, just say more options. Open with Visual Studio. Now you can open this up in Visual Studio and then open up the folder. You can even open up Visual Studio and give it the path to this Git repository and it'll download it for you. I want to show you this though, because once you start making C++ projects, so like SKSE plugins, it's so easy to right click on the folder and then open in Visual Studio, open in Visual Studio Code, open in CLion. All those programs add a little Explorer extension right here. And it's the easiest way to open up one of these projects. Now you might be accustomed to other programs. Photoshop has PSD files, and other Visual Studio projects have SLN solution files, or CSproj, or VCXproj files, or lots of programs have project files. For these C++ projects, which are CMake projects, just open up the folder and treat the folder as if it is a project, okay? Skip for now, choose whatever you want. I do C++, it puts the Solution Explorer on the left. Whatever you choose does not matter. It's just the style of Visual Studio. Now, as soon as this opens, it's going to actually detect that this is a CMake project. You don't need to understand CMake like at all. We'll touch a CMake file once just to change the name of this project from Hello World to whatever you want. But it's going to detect that it's CMake. And it's going to start to run a CMake configure. And this is where I'm going to actually end the recording. And then once it's done configuring, I'll start a new recording. Because the last time I tried to record this, the C++ compiler made my audio and video go out of sync. So 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. And for me, this finished. For you, it's probably still running. So what's happening is we are having Visual Studio automatically download all of the dependencies that you're going to need to make an SKSE plugin. There's like gigs of them once it's compiled. It needs just a bunch of stuff. Whereas for Papyrus scripts, everything that's needed is baked into the game. When you're making these to compile them, it needs some stuff. It needs CommonLib, which is the main library that's used to make SKSE plugins. FUMT is this formatting thing. RapidCSV, I think, is used to read the address library files for VR. Speedlog is what we use generally for logging. It's the canonical logging library for Common Lisp. Check out the logging episode where we use it. Things like that. Now, one thing to call out when 7-zip, all kinds of stuff, is while this runs, it will eventually get to a part where it says something like performing post-build validation, and you're going to think that it's done and you're ready. You'd be wrong. Wherever in here it says performing post-build validation, it's not done yet. You got to wait until it says CMake generation finished. Do nothing until it says CMake generation finished. Don't touch it, or you're going to have to do it all over again. So the amount of time that you just waiting for Common Lisp and the dependencies to basically compile, you only have to wait for it once. Whenever you make new SKSE, plugins, it's going to use the pre-compiled files that are now saved, I believe, in your VC package folder. So just FYI. Now it's time to make something and put it in the game. What just happened was something called a CMake configure, and now the project is configured and ready for you to do things like compile. So we can build all, and it will compile. Let me just first show you. If I open up one of these files in Explorer, any one of them, I'll see that there's now a build folder that showed up in our project. And because I'm in debug mode, it's a debug folder. And this is where your DLL for your SKSE plugin is going to show up. We will configure it before the end of the episode so that whenever you hit build, it'll put the plugin automatically into like Model Organizer 2 or something like that. But the first time, let's do this together, just see exactly how it works. Build all, okay? Now it got debugged because of this dropdown. Whenever you're ready to share this with your friends, or in particular, like on Nexus, you might want to switch this over to release. Okay, it's done, and it created a hello world.dll. First, let's look at the DLL, but then I'll show you how to rename it, because you probably don't want to call yours hello world. Here it is, hello world.dll. This is your SKSE plugin. Now it's 2 megs, but the release version will be smaller, probably like 0.5 meg or something. But you don't want to call this hello world, do you? So what you want to do, we can close all these pages and whatever. You want to go to cmakelist.txt. I'm hoping I'll have an episode at some point on CMake, but I also hope that y'all don't have to learn much about it. This is a relatively small CMake build file. If you use Papyrus, Papyrus has PPJ, Papyrus project files for kind of setting up what the name of a mod is and whether it packages things into a BSA, etc., using a program called Pyro. We use this for the equivalent. This is used to set the name of the mod. So we'll call this butts, because why not? And then most of this other stuff is for determining where the output file folder of the DLL should be. I'll show you later, but in case I forget, you can uncomment, get rid of the hash mark, this line, and whatever you put here, this folder, the DLL, will go out to whenever you compile. So it does that. It loads the Common Lib library. It creates a Common Lib plugin. This line is regular Common Lib. This line comes from Common Lib NG. I will have some documentation and eventually videos on how to use other versions of Common Lib. Sets up everything for you and basically just says if an output folder is configured, it's going to put it someplace. You do not need to understand any of this. That's why it says you do not need to edit anything below here where you just have butts. So I'm going to hit Control S. And what it does whenever you Control S a CMake list file is it will rerun the configure. Now, that's what we did the first time, but this time it was basically very fast because everything was already compiled, all those dependencies and things. Now, if I say build all, in my debug folder, there's currently a hello world that's left over from before, but hopefully once it's finished building, we should get some butts, ladies and jelly spoons. We should get some butts. There's some butts. Let's put some butts in the video game. How do we do that? Well, should have mentioned that at the very beginning. You need SKYM. For the next step, you're going to need SKYM either from Steam or GOG. If somehow you made it to this point in the video and you don't have SKYM, you should probably get it from Steam so that you can get Creation Kit. At the time of recording, GOG does not distribute Creation Kit, although I love GOG. Speaking of which, I guess I'll open up GOG. I have GOG and Steam versions. No, I don't want to update. Thank you for opening up off screen. Here's my installed version of SKYM. What you can do here is you can go to Manage Installation Show Folder, and it's going to open up my GOG folder. Of course, most of y'all are Steam, so I don't know why I opened up GOG. If we go to SKYM, we can go to the little cogwheel here and say Manage Browse Local Files, and it takes us to the same place. Now, the reason I'm bringing these, opening up these places, come on, here it is, it's because we're going to put the DLL into our SKYM Special Edition folder. Now, for those Mod Organizer 2 kids out there who are screaming when I say that, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to automatically put it into your Mod Organizer 2 mods path, and you can skip this piece if you want to. So, for any of this to work, boy oh boy do we need SKSE, because we're making SKSE plugins. If you don't have SKSE plugins ain't gonna work, my friend. So if you don't have SKSE, go ahead and grab it for your version of SKYM. For SKYM, whether it's Special Edition or Anniversary Edition, you probably want Current Anniversary Edition. Only people who know that they downgraded to this 1597 thing are the folks who should download this Special Edition one, as it points out here as well. So grab the one for Anniversary Edition, that's the one for my Steam, and GOG as well. These are 7-zip files. Boy oh boy do I not have 7-zip. You can just search for 7-zip or go to 7-zip.org. You're going to want to install this 64-bit, well, download, and screen's gonna go black while Windows is like, hey, can I run this? And I'm like, yeah. I just hit install. Great, close. One gotcha. When I go to my downloads folder now, those 7-zip files that I downloaded, they still don't have a pretty little icon. They have this blank little icon like Windows doesn't know what it is. If I double click on one, come on, double click on one. Did I double click on it? What's up? Choose an app from your PC and then go to, whoops, on Windows 11, this Zoom super doesn't work. Go to 7-zip and then you want FM, which is the file manager. Choose that. And on 11, you're always going to have to click always. But 10, it'll just always, it'll open this up for you right away. Here we go. Cool. So now, here's my GOG, okay? What I do is I open up my SKSE GOG. I go to the folder. I click on the data and the executable in the DLL, or just choose everything. Just choose everything. It's just equally fine. And drag and drop it over to your SKYM Special Edition folder. For GOG, it's called SKYM Anniversary Edition. And it looks like I had installed SKSE, so there were some replacements. And then for Anniversary Edition, whoops, no, wrong file. Screen went black because it was like, do you want to install 7-zip? And I'm like, actually, no, I already did. I'm going to drag everything over to my SKYM Special Edition folder. And I guess I already installed it, but that's how you do SKSE. Great. I guess we can do Steam because we're here. So to install the SKSE plugin manually, here's where they go, okay? You go into your SKYM Special Edition or SKYM Anniversary Edition if you're GOG folder, into Data. Inside of Data, you're going to need a folder called SKSE. So whereas the data folder has all the ESMs, ESLs, ESPs, and stuff for mods, plugin files that the game loads, SKSE puts its plugins into SKSE, subdirectory called plugins, and then you just put the DLLs in here. And address library files also need to go in here, but we'll see that in a moment. So now we can go to Visual Studio. I don't know how to get to the build folder really easily, so I'm just going to say open folder. And so here's our project over here, hello world, okay, with my 2 mouse cursors. Whee! I know it's crazy. Build, debug, butts. I'm just going to put the butts DLL over here. Boop. There we go. Okay. Now if I run Steam using SKSE, gotta use SKSE. Otherwise SKSE plugins won't load if you don't run the loader. Then, I wonder what size of screen this is. Then, if you don't have Anniversary Edition, and address library, excuse me, you'll get this. Modern, Common Lib compiled plugins all need address library. So if you say yes, it'll open up address library in a browser. If you're using a mod manager, you can just click mod manager download. I'm going to click manual download. Oh my God. And I'm going to, do I need to log in? Let me log in. Okay, I logged in. Start download. Anniversary Edition. It has itself an SKSE plugins folder, and it's got a bunch of little files for each version of Skyrim. We go to data, we go to SKSE, we go to plugins. Of course, you should use a mod manager, but hey, if you want to know how it works behind the scenes, this is how it works behind the scenes. Address library is just these files, and you might recognize these as Skyrim version numbers. Who would have thought? Now we're going to run SKSE loader again. Hopefully we'll have some butts. Oh man, I need to resize this. It's ginormous. Do that in a second. So once the game is here, I don't want to do the Anniversary Edition stuff, but I'm going to hit the tilde key and let's look in the console. It says hello world. If you run your version of Skyrim, it does not say hello world. Mine says hello world. I'm going to QQQ out of this and let's make it say something different. If we go back to our hello world plugin, which who would have thought says hello world, and now we go to the C++ file. Ooh, plugin.cpp. It says hello world right there. Boy, oh boy, does it say hello world right there. You know, it also has a bunch of other nonsense. It had like all kinds of pointer, like little asterisks and semicolons and parentheses. Don't worry about that. You don't need to worry about any of this nonsense. You just need to worry about where it says hello world and update it to whatever you want it to say. Something without double quotes. I'm going to say butts. Control S save, and we're going to build. And now building it's going to put the DLL into the build folder, into build debug, and then we're going to have to copy it again. So if as a final thing we go to our instructions for our hello world template, there's a section on project setup. And it says by default, it puts stuff in your build folder. If you want it to go into your mods folder for a mod organizer, do this. If you want it to just go directly into your data folder for Skyrim, do this. Let's start with that one. I don't have a mod manager installed right now. It's a fresh reformatted PC. I know, mod organizer should be the very first thing you install, like right after a browser. Edge doesn't count. I'm just kidding, Edge. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to environment and same deal, edit your system or environment variables for your account. This time I'll click on this one. It takes you directly here. And then we're going to say new, and I'm going to say Skyrim folder. And now let's get the root of our Skyrim folder. In this case, it's my Steam one. Cool. And now, I gotcha that someone is gonna miss. You gotta close Visual Studio. Environment variables are special. They get loaded up once every time a program opens, and changes won't be detected until you go back to your Hello World folder and then say, open with Visual Studio again. And now that it's changed, it'll be detected. And because we're opening up Visual Studio, it should automatically run the CMake configure for us. We'll see it right there. There it goes. If you're using an editor that does not automatically run the CMake configure as soon as you open it up, you are going to want to make sure you open up cmakelist.txt And you're gonna wanna trigger a CMake configure, because after you change the environment variable, you gotta rerun the CMake, because the CMake checks for those environment variables. Skyrim folder, Skyrim mods folder, as we'll do in a second. So if I go to my Skyrim Special Edition folder and I go to Data, SKSE, Plugins, and let's just get rid of butts. No butts allowed. And we build now, build all. Hey, look, it's butts. Not only is it butts, it's butts' little debug symbol friend, PDB, program database, which you actually want there whenever you're using the debug build. It'll have debug symbols for you. Check out the debugging episode. Have I recorded that yet? I don't remember. Check out the debug episode once it's out on how to debug. Should record that. Okay, now if I run the game, hopefully there'll be butts. We all want some butts, right? I think the game is at D, Steam, Conland, blah, 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 blah. Bam, bam, bam. I did that way early. It's not lagging or anything. It's just waiting for it impatiently. Let's open up the console. It says butts. Hooray! Now, for those of you who are using a mod manager, if you're using Mod Organizer 2, go to the little tools, go to paths, and look at the path for your, I might have pictures of this. Downloading Vortex for you. And then Mod Organizer 2. And now Mod Organizer 2. Okay, so here's the instructions. If you want this to go directly into your mods folder, okay, you're gonna, instead of setting the Skyrim folder environment variable, you set the Skyrim mods folder. You can keep this other one set if you want. If you have Skyrim mods folder, it will use that one. Here's like some examples of what the paths might look like if you're using Mod Organizer or Vortex. If you're using Vortex, then you can get that path by going to whatever game that you are managing, which I'm managing now, going to Settings and Mods. This is the path that you want right here. You can just click on it. Boop. And this is where all your mods go. So you want that folder right there. Or if you are using Mod Organizer 2, like I am running now, once it runs, yo, I'm recording MO2, go faster, go faster. Then the mods folder, once this runs, oh, it was in the background, I'm an idiot. It's small because my 4K monitor. Global, Skyrim, what was that one? GOG, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't want the tutorial. Sure do the links. You want to go here and paths and hit the little ellipses next to where it says mods. Sorry, mine is so small right now. And then click here. This is the path that you want. So let's do this one, for example. Okay. I'm going to go to my environment variables, new, Skyrim mods folder. Okay, and okay. Okay. Okay, now we close Visual Studio and we open it because we did a new environment variable, but don't worry, we're done. We're like done after this. This is it. We're done. Unless you hang out for my secret at the end. I have a secret. Secret. It's gonna run the configure. And you can actually tell from this output where it's going to output your DLL. It'll actually say, I didn't show that when we used the Skyrim folder, but it'll actually say once it's done here, something like Skyrim plugin output folder or something. SKSE plugin output folder. It detected now that it's going to put it into Mod Organizer and it's going to create a butts folder. So if I go here and I refresh my Mod Organizer, there's nothing, but let's go to build all. And as soon as it's done, we can refresh Mod Organizer and we now have butts right here. Of course, if I run it, it's going to say something about address library because I just set up Mod Organizer for the very first time. for GOG, and then I go yes, and then I go like this, and then I say yes, yes, whoops, downloads, I hit the wrong button, download, yes, yes, downloads. Vortex probably downloaded it. I forgot to authorize. Okay, authorized, okay, come on, restart, come on, download, install, and here we go. We should have butts. Although I guess we had butts before, so it's not that exciting, but hey, it automatically put it into your Mod Organizer 2 folder, and it'll automatically put it into your Vortex folder. If you're a Vortex user, remember that it's going to go into your mods folder. It's not going to go into your games folder. You might want to consider using the games folder, like the Skyrim folder. Otherwise, whenever this you build, you might have to disable and re-enable your mod so that the DLL gets deployed, is the Vortex term, into the game folder. But we got butts there, ladies and jelly spoons. I think that's kind of it for this episode. I will say I've ranted and raved a little bit in this whole series about how I wished more people would contribute to the documentation for some of these Skyrim things. So if you have a passion for documentation, writing tutorials, things like that, please reach out to me. Because one of the things that I'm hoping I will make public soon is that because I got so frustrated after recording a couple episodes of this, I decided I'm just going to make a friggin' website. Let's just have a website where we put tutorials. There's already creationkit.com, but the problem with creationkit.com is we can't really easily put SKSE code, and there's no place to put sample projects. So I made like a GitHub organization where we can start having sample projects. So yes, Skyrim.dev. There's nothing there right now, basically, but I'm gonna try and see if I can pull together some of my friends, or at least myself, and put all the code for this tutorial series up online there. No promises that it's on there right now, but it will be soon. So I'm trying to help you guys. If you have any other ideas to help, or if you want to make videos or documentation, please do. There's more than enough room for us in the community to share more documentation. Y'all are amazing. Come on, hang out in my Discord server and hang out with cool people who are like, not to like promote my Discord server, but because if you want to teach people C++ for SKSE plugins, or if you want to learn from people who know C++ for making SKSE plugins, etc., I don't know, the people are there, so go hang out with them. Thank you. Thank you, Charmbarian, also for teaching me C++, and a ton of people on my Twitch for teaching me C++. But I guess that's it. Enjoy the series. Give me feedback. I hope you enjoyed the series. This is just a rough draft, everyone. I'm going to try and get a better series out soon, but I'm hoping this will get you up and running with SKSE plugin development, so please have fun. If anyone makes a library in like Rust or something, please tell us. Happy modding, everyone. Happy modding.